Hello, Extratime.
It's time to the league not to get a hype because it damages your reputation. It makes people, when they read it, just laugh at you.
But simple look, they're playing in the League One and they're playing in the Europa League and they're credit and the game in this country. Maybe we should get Stephen Kenny down to manage the Irish team.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Extratime Football Podcast. Your host Luke Jordan. About to say Macdara first. Say Macdara, how are you?
I'm good, Luke. How are you getting on?
I'm fine. Where are we at currently in Germany?
I'm in Hamburg. We're recording on Thursday morning. I was up early, out in the rain, to run up and over to the St. Pauli stadium. Wanted to have a look at that this morning. So no football today, but tomorrow I'm in Hamburg to see the France-Portugal game. Haven't come up from Leipzig. I was at the cracking Austria Türkiye game the other evening.
Meant to say season 12, episode 20 this week. I think we've recorded over 50 podcasts this year between myself and Ushin. So extratime.com's content is flying, is one way to put it.
Yeah, we're doing well. We'll have a few more hopefully for these Europods as well.
Hamburg, then what are you planning to do today?
So there's a probably meet up. One of the other Irish journalists is here at lunchtime. Probably meet up at lunchtime, take a wander around, just to see some of the sites. I'm staying in the slightly grittier side of Hamburg, down near the train station, which I probably should know that's what it's going to be like. But hoping to get out maybe to the press conferences that France-Portugal game are on. But they're at two different times, so I might only go to one of them, maybe the Portugal one. But I had a look around Hamburg yesterday, came up on the train, went down to the port area, did a quick postcard that's up on the site. They have the knockout stages of the competition are painted, the flags of the teams are painted on shipping containers down at the port, and each day, the morning after the night before, they move on to the quarterfinals and have painted them all in, so they've all the flags for those matches, and they'll keep working away on that until the morning of the 15th of July, the morning after the final. They'll paint the winning flag on the top container in the centre. So that's down in the port. Went down to have a look at that. It's been kind of rejuvenated. I don't know whether it's slightly season 2 The Wire style, but there's a new kind of concert hall that's built. One of the architects, Herzog and Moran, pretty impressive. So you can go up for €3. You get this kind of funky curved escalator that goes from ground level up to about maybe 7th or 8th floor, and then it gives you this view out over the port on one side and then the city on the other. Yeah, it's a bit damp in Hamburg today, so hopefully it'll clear up. The forecast clear up this afternoon, so it won't get too wet if I do go out to the Volksparkstadion.
Any player in particular you'd like to see in the press conference?
Well, maybe Ronaldo, after all the drama of the other night and his tears after he missed a penalty. But I don't know whether they'll put him up, and they may. So I don't know, and I don't know what he'd have to say for himself after that. Like, he did post-match after the game. I did see up on UEFA.com. Obviously went to the shootout against Slovenia, and his goalkeeper got him out of jail with the 3 penalty saves. So I don't know. We'll take whoever it is, but Roberto Martinez is usually good in a press conference.
Just on the Ronaldo and the tears, what I know got a bit of criticism from pretty much every media outlet, I think, at this stage. Well, what did you make of the kind of the Ronaldo show, if you put it that way?
Well, I'm doing up my. I don't want to give too much away from my preview today, but let's just say Taylor Swift is playing the Volkspark Arena later on, and that's her Eras tour. It's the latest show in the Ego tour for Ronaldo, because that's what it seems to be. And he just gets all the spotlight, but when he lines up all those free kicks and he blasts them over the bar and doesn't get any of them on target, doesn't make the goalkeeper, and when he misses a penalty and he degenerates into tears. If that happened with any player, that'd be a big story. And the fact that at, what is he, 39?
Yeah.
I think he's played the most minutes of any player in Portugal. And really, I think I said on our first pod, it was only when Ireland played Portugal in friendly ahead of the Euros, I realised he was still playing. I thought he retired after getting hooked in the World Cup and the drama of that. I figured actually he'd retired. He's come back. He's got the all-time assist record, I think, from this tournament, but he's yet to score a goal. But yeah, he does soak up a lot of the attention, but it just makes it provides just another interesting angle for France-Portugal game where, we've got the teams that played each other in 2016 European final. Portugal won that one that was in Stade de France. I think that's the only win Portugal have got since 1975 against France. So you think kind of France-Portugal game, they're two big sides, but incredibly Portugal have only won one game, and I think it's 15 matches in the intervening time. But Portugal have a good side outside of Ronaldo. Like, they have a lot of high quality players that are playing, the likes of Paris Saint-Germain, playing with Manchester City, playing with Manchester United.
Jota can't get a sniff because of Ronaldo playing up front instead of 39.
Yeah.
Jota can't get in the team. And I know he's probably Liverpool's best attacker sometimes.
Yeah, and we've talked about how France are more than just Mbappe. They have a really, really good squad as well, a really good team. Whether Deschamps getting as much out of them as maybe he should is another matter. But it's a game I'm really looking forward to on Friday evening.
Yeah, the Ronaldo show and the ego tour like that. But look, it's put aside the antics on the pitch recently. I think it is an incredible feat still. He's the only active player played in Euro 2004 that's still playing 20 odd years later, which is a testament to himself. But you do wonder, I think the game that stands the most for me was the Georgia game when they're already through the group and Martinez still picks him to play. I think that kind of is a massive red flag. I don't know. You're kind of screaming, is he afraid to drop Ronaldo? Like, even the other day, like, as you're watching the match, and we will talk about the other game in a sec, but just, he's 39, you're in extra time, Pepe's 41. Both are playing to extra time. Like, to me, it just screams horrendous man management. Pepe almost cost him the goal, and it just looked like his legs just stopped working just due to the fact he's 41 and it's 140 minutes in the clock. And horrendous way for him and Portugal knocked out for the manager to just take him off. Clearly, after 90 minutes, the man can't play. Like, he's both 41-39 like that. That's poor man management on Martin's behalf.
Like, if Ronaldo plays, of course Ronaldo will play on Friday. That'll be his 30th appearance in the European final, which is the record. And he holds the record for goals at 14 as well. Like, I don't know whether he'll get a goal against this French side. I think defensively, they're very, very strong. But it's Martinez is having to manage these two players, but the team obviously still believe in Ronaldo, and they're still playing with him, playing for him.
Yeah, I think Roberto Martinez is one of the luckiest managers in world football. Got the Belgian job, made an absolute hames of running the Belgian golden generation. Now walks into the Portuguese golden generation. I think that's whoever his agent is. That's the man you want in football, is his agent. Anyway, let's talk. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no. Well, I was just saying about Martinez. They did get them to third in the world, though. No, they did win a third and fourth place playoff in the World Cup. Have I got that? Remembering that right?
Gareth Southgate also got to a semi-final of the World Cup.
Good point.
Okay. Hey, let's talk about the game you were at, because I think that was definitely the best round game in the last 16. Turkey and Austria. Can I just start with the save right at the end? Just being at the stadium, what was the save like on live? Because on TV, to me, that's just an incredible save. Like, that's up there with the Seaman save and so on. That's a fantastic piece of goalkeeping to keep your country in a tournament. Yeah,
it was brilliant. I've talked a little bit of the way the press box is set up in Leipzig. It's actually quite low, and I was in the front row, not the front row of the stand. So, but I had a really good view of it at the same side, that the cameras were on as well, but low down. And I was just like, what a save. Everyone around us was just going, oh my God. And at times, in injury time, you're trying to finalize your match report. You can kind of have your head looking looking at the laptop, but actually, no, I was pretty near to finishing whatever, and I was able to watch the last bit, and I thought it was absolutely incredible. Afterwards in the press conference, Ralf Rangnick spoke about it being, if Baumgartner had scored, he figured his team would have gone on to win in extra time, but we were playing against Gordon Banks in goal. Yeah, because somebody had asked them the question, was it, that save reminded the journalist of the Gordon Banks save against Pele in the 1970 World Cup in Mexico, which people won't remember, which was a header from Pele with a bounced in ball and pushed up over the bar. It was certainly at that level. Mert Günok, who plays he's the Besiktas goalkeeper, but it was an absolutely super save. To plug a piece that's written by someone who as a contributor to Extra Time. It was written on the 42. Barry Murphy did a really good 5-step analysis going through just how good that save was, and just the 5 points, how it's set up. So if people are interested in diving even deeper into it, I recommend that's on the 42 today.
For Turkey, then we'll make Macdara in a sec, but just in terms of the Turks, like it's obviously a pretty moment for them. I think last time we got this far in the tournament probably was Euro 2008 when they got to the semi-final. Like it's a fantastic moment for them to get to the quarter-final stage now. And my only fear would be how much energy they put into that game, which could cost them maybe in the long run them going to the quarter-final, because they did look dead in their feet at the end.
Yeah, now they were missing kind of like their skipper. They'd one other player suspended because they picked up something like 10 yellow cards in the previous round. Now they're going to be missing 2 more players so for this next game. And their manager Montella afterwards was kind of praising their heart and their spirit and their energy, and they left it all. They left it all out there in that match, and there is a huge amount of that. Now, there was the kind of chaotic game against Czechia the previous round, where their manager said that actually they'd gone too far, so they needed to be more measured, and they were. But the backing that they're getting. So that game was in Leipzig in the Red Bull Stadium, so it's actually lit up. The stadium is lit up in red. The Austrian fans were in red. The Turkish fans were in red. So it was just red everywhere. I talked about it's a 41 all-seated stadium, but it was a 41,000 all-standing stadium. People just stood for the whole game. Every time Austria had the ball, it was just a cacophony of whistles from the Turkish fans. It just didn't stop from first to last, and it's quite an enclosed stadium. So the atmosphere was absolutely brilliant, and the game had got off to such a brilliant start. There was it's the second fastest ever goal in the Euros that Demiral scored. And, the quickest one was scored in this tournament. The Albanian player scored after 27 seconds. This one was less than a minute. Quickest goal in knockout stages ever. But there'd already been a couple of chances before that. So from that, the game just got going. The fact that the 3 goals all came from set pieces, but actually it was much more than that. You had that Austrian gegenpress. Turkey deployed Arda Güler in a kind of false 9, and sometimes you're watching the game on television and I'm like, yeah, whatever. But actually being at the game on the other night, you could really see it just where he was playing. Actually, yeah, he was a false 9, and he was really, really impressive. He was able to get on the ball and actually pick out a really good pass, and sometimes just to slow it down a little bit and allow players to come up and around him, which is probably what you need to do around when you're playing in that position. And then it was his 2 corners that provided essentially the assist for the 2 goals. And then it went right to the end. Like, I think Austria were, I think they probably were unlucky not at least to take it to extra time. Like Ranić talking in the post-match press conference afterwards, he just shook his head and he said, I just can't imagine that we're going home now. Like he couldn't quite believe, and I don't think he'd really fault them. The only fault he had for his players was they didn't defend set pieces well enough. And if you've a goalkeeper pulling off a save like that at the end, but that was a real high intensity, high energy game for Turkey, which their last game in the group stage was as well. So yeah, you do kind of wonder, will they run out of steam in their quarterfinal? And they're playing the Netherlands on Saturday in Berlin. I'm also going to that one as well. And the Netherlands had an easier game. They had a fairly standard 3-0 win over Romania, because that match was in Munich. This game is quite popular with the Irish press. I've been over in the west of Germany. I've only met up with a couple of the journalists prior to now. So Gavin Cooney, the first night I was in Leipzig, and Joe Callan, who's doing work for the Examiner. But those 2 guys were there yesterday. Dan McDonnell was there on Tuesday as well. Ken Early was there. Philip O'Connor is working for Reuters in Berlin. He'd come down. So Gavin Cummiskey was flying the flag for the Irish media down in Munich. So he was at the Netherlands game, but everyone had come over for the Southern game. So it was certainly well covered in the Irish media. And I think all those that had travelled over from the west of Germany were very happy with the game that they got to.
Just on the Dutch, I feel like they've arrived now at the tournament with that performance against Romania. Very comprehensive. I know it was Romania, but it was very comprehensive with the way they kind of dispatched on them.
Yeah, so watched that game in the press in the media hub just before that Austria Turkey game, and because it was looking like it was going to be a rematch of the Austria Netherlands game from earlier in the group stages, which was also in Berlin. Now Netherlands weren't great, weren't great in weren't great in that game, so they've obviously picked it up. Like, I'd half forgotten Romania were even in the tournament. I don't think I'd seen any of their games, just the way I hadn't certainly seen them in the flesh, and I hadn't watched any of them on television either. I think whatever games I was at seemed to be at the other one, but I think it was a fairly easy game, if I can say that, for Netherlands, and Gakpo's looking really, really impressive.
Yeah.
And I was at the Netherlands-France game where I thought it wasn't a great game, but they were Netherlands were certainly in that game against the French side, who it could be a tournament winners. We'll know obviously a little bit more on Friday night, but I'd say there was a relief all around within the Dutch camp just to put in kind of that performance against Romania side, who, I think they got 4 points in the group stages. I think they were in that group where all the teams were on that level. So the fact that kind of Netherlands kind of went through with that win, I think it'll give them confidence. I think they'll probably be happier playing against Turkey. Although I can only imagine the amount of Turkish support that's going to be in Berlin, because there was really huge support in Leipzig, but that's in the east of Germany, where traditionally there wouldn't have been a huge Turkish population. If you think of the migration into Germany, into West Germany, through kind of the 60s and 70s, you wouldn't have had that obviously into East Germany. So wouldn't have quite have been as big a crowd, but in Berlin, I imagine any of the neutral section as well as the kind of Turkish end of the ground, and they're in, because we were recording a podcast just after I was delayed a little bit because I wanted to book my seat with the booking system. So I've chosen to be down towards the Turkish end, and they've got the full bowl, whereas the Dutch fans will be split by the Martin Gate. If people know the Berlin Stadium, the upper tier has a gap where the Olympic flame was. So yeah, I've chosen my seat down towards the Turkish end. But I've been to Berlin a couple of times. I think I'm away from any beer throwing arc from the stands, just where the press box is.
What game in particular now, the two games you're going to, the quarterfinals, which are you looking forward to going to most?
I think the France-Portugal one, the Ronaldo, Mbappe, this French side that's got to 3 of the last 4 finals of tournaments, is a good one. The Hamburg Stadium is just a bit of a kind of it's not quite a bowl, but it's just a big kind of blank stadium. I think talked a little bit about just what the Olympic Stadium is like. So I think to go to Netherlands, Turkey in the Olympic Stadium, the big Dutch travelling support, the big Turkish travelling support, stroke home support. I think probably Saturday night's game. So that's a late game on Saturday night. Probably the one in Berlin. I'm looking forward to. So that Netherlands Turkey game.
Looking at the knockout draw now just in front of me here, England, Switzerland, Netherlands, Turkey on one side, Spain, Germany, which probably is the game of the round, I think, and then France, Portugal, France. What are we thinking then in terms of the semi-final draws? I suppose if you start on this side here, England, Switzerland, Netherlands, Turkey, is it I'd probably say England will scrape through, and if England do scrape through, I think I'd like Netherlands to face them, just so it's, they have a tougher tie in the semi-final. But what are you thinking there from the game just in? Do you think Switzerland can turn over England? Can Turkey turn over Netherlands?
Like, I was at that Switzerland-Italy, the 2-0 win for Switzerland against Italy last Saturday, and I was very impressed with the Swiss. So, and England have been deeply unimpressive. But yeah, it's kind of hard. I'm just hoping Switzerland beat them.
The only thing about England though, that they when they are in the tournament is a story. It's just they're always a moment away from disaster. Like, I think that's the one thing with England in the tournament, that they are a good story when they are there.
Yeah, well, like they'll take confidence from, I suppose, the manner that they didn't give up, that they got the equaliser and then they came straight out in extra time against Slovakia, but Slovakia looked to be kind of dead on their feet. So maybe that's the positive that they can take into this game. Switzerland have an extra day's rest. Whether that really means much, I don't really know. But and England had to play 120 minutes. So, but yeah, so Switzerland, England, and then are you asking for a winner between the Netherlands and the Turkish side?
Yeah, I'm going from Netherlands. I think Netherlands. I think they'll turn over Turkey just because of the sheer effort Turkey put in.
Yeah.
I thought Netherlands found their groove the other day, and in particular with Gapco looking on form now. And I mean, you said Xavi Simon's very impressive in the group stages of the tournament as well, and obviously the back four is quite decent too with Ake for Van Dijk and De Vrij and Dumfries. Like it's not a bad team. It's not the best Dutch team of all time, but it's still a fairly decent side. So I'll go with Netherlands to get through that type.
Yeah, I think I probably agree with you on that.
This is the big one. Spain, Germany. I think Spain have been the most impressive team in the tournament so far who I've seen, but Germany have the home advantage and the fans, so I'm kind of split here. So I'll let you be the journalist and make the call on that one. I'm happy to go with your opinion.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any of the group games with Spain in. So I watched the Spain-Georgia game, and yeah, they were super impressive. I think that was probably a game too far for that Georgia team. And we talked in the pod the other day just about the high quality players, young players that Spain have. I've watched all of the Germany games, bar maybe the first 45 of the knockout stage. The game that was slightly delayed with Thunder, and I think Germany have been very impressive. I think probably better maybe than people thought they were going to be. And now I know they came very close to losing to Switzerland in the group stages, but I think with that home support, I'd probably favour Germany just maybe ahead of Spain. But it's definitely the tie of the quarterfinal.
Yeah, Portugal, France. Then France, I'm gonna go. And also, I told you I haven't been sweepstakes, so I really need France to. Italy are gone; they're my other team, so I really need France to do me a favour here and win the tournament, so I win money. So I'm gonna go France.
Yeah, just France have a better team. I think Mbappe would probably be a bit more used to playing with a mask. He's probably had a few more days training with it as well. And yeah, if they just need Griezmann to be a little bit better. He was disappointed now in the last game, but I think France to beat Portugal.
I think is it Rabiot's missing for France? I think, isn't he?
I think
yellow card. Yeah.
Yeah, he's suspended. I think there's not huge numbers of yellow cards, but I think they'll miss him. I like him as a player. I know others maybe feel that he's maybe a little bit limited, but I think you need that type of player within. But I still think the France will be too good for Portugal.
Euro 2024 then, as a whole, what made the tournament, like a lot of people are giving mixed reviews about games and maybe not as exciting as the World Cup, say 18 months previous. Where do you stand in the tournament so far as a whole?
No, I think it has been good. I think if you looked at that last 16 games, the Romania Netherlands game was a bit of a blowout. The Spain Georgia game was the same, but I think it was exciting. Certainly that Spain Georgia game was exciting to watch. We had the drama of England, that one going to extra time, and then the drama of Ronaldo's tears, and then the penalty shootout, and everyone loves a good penalty shootout. And the Austria Türkiye game is probably one of the games of the tournament as well. The group stages, there is criticism, and some of it's justified about when you have 6 groups and only 4 best third places going through, but virtually all the games, I think every single last knockout stage game meant something. And even teams who had already gone through, the likes of Portugal, had won their 2 games, but then Georgia beat them. So it was definitely a meaningful game. Now, there is an advantage as you come towards the end of the group stages. If you're playing in your last game towards the end of the group stages, you kind of know what's happened. So you kind of knew, what had happened with Croatia against Italy and whatnot. So that Croatia weren't going to go through as the best 4 team. You have that advantage going to the end. But I suppose Croatia knew they needed not to concede against Italy in injury time. I think if you look at the quarterfinal list where you've got Germany, Spain, France, Portugal, Switzerland, England, Netherlands, Turkey, I think that's a good lineup. So no, I'd and of course I'm biased because I'm out here as well. But no, I think it's been an excellent tournament. I think the drama, the the atmosphere in the stadiums, which is coming across on the television as well. And we have had some really, really good goals, like the Bellingham goal, and really, really good saves like the other night. So and I think it's been an excellent tournament. So looking forward to the 4 quarterfinals across Friday night and Saturday night.
Any player in particular stood out for you that you've seen in the flesh? That's like this guy's quality, or maybe a player you hadn't maybe seen much of before?
Well, I suppose because it's fresh in the mind and recency bias, Güler with Turkey, because I think he had spent, I think, the first half of the season, I think he was injured a fair bit. I think when you're looking at somebody who's only 19 and is playing with a club like Real Madrid, you're going, oh God, this guy is going to be. This guy's going to be really, really good, for a number of years. So I think he's probably stood out. I suppose if you're thinking of any different players, I don't really. Yeah, sorry, there's no others that kind of spring into mind in terms of who I kind of hadn't maybe seen before.
Before I let you go, any city that's been your favourite so far that you've witnessed and gone around?
Well, it has to be. I suppose it has to be Berlin. So yeah, I did. I got to spend a bit more time there because I wasn't going from game to game to game. So definitely enjoyed my time there. Staying in a nice part of the town, stay a bit different maybe from Hamburg, but whereas Leipzig still has that kind of bit of a slightly East German feel, but there is money coming into Leipzig. I did see reference to being the new Berlin. I don't know whether that's quite the case, but it's a kind of a compact city, nice to kind of walk around, even just going out to the stadium. Whereas Hamburg is, I suppose, like a port city. It's big and has maybe a different edge to it than others. So, but yeah, they'll be the only 3 cities I'll get to. Chatting to some of the Irish journalists at the other game, I think most of them are. I think there's 9 venues or 10 venues, and I think most of them will have got to all of them, maybe all bar one. I think the likes of Hamburg is probably a bit of a trek, and Munich is a bit of a trek. They're probably the 2 that maybe some others haven't skipped on. Whereas you kind of get to Berlin, and Leipzig is only kind of an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes below. So, but I've been happy with certainly with the games I've got to, and the 3 cities I've got to visit. Any
piece you want to plug now on extratime.com before you go?
So I did a piece on Leipzig, on the stadium, talked a little bit about stadium architecture, which I've talked a little bit about the fact that kind of was rebuilt in the bowl of the old stadium. The one I just have up from yesterday, just on the containers, is worth having a look at the pictures just to see what it's like. And I'll have another postcard just about Berlin, just ahead of Saturday's game. But I will have that Taylor Swift styled preview for this Portugal game later on this evening that people can watch maybe or have a read of at halftime in the League of Ireland games that they're at, or if they're on the way home from the games, because our full fixtures are on Thursday evening to mean that people can watch the games on Friday. So just a reminder, the Irish time, it's the Germany-Spain game is Friday at 5, and the France-Portugal game is in Hamburg at 8, Irish time, 9 o'clock here in Germany.
Are you looking forward to Shamrock Rovers match tonight?
They're playing Dundalk, home game. If people are going to the game, I have an interview with Pico Lopez talking a little bit about, he's been watching the Euros, but I was talking to him about his major championship experience, having been with Cape Verde. They got to the quarterfinals of the AFCON, and talked a little bit about the World Cup qualifiers, because they're in the middle of their World Cup qualifying campaign. Cape Verde looking to get to the World Cup for the very first time, but they I'll probably post it out later on. I love a good permutations playoff. The AFCON one is brilliant. So there's 9 groups, 9 winners go through. So that's easy. So, the fact that Cape Verde made the top 8 in the AFCON means, it is realistic that they could maybe top their group, although they are in the group with Cameroon. But then the 4 best runners up from the group 9 go into a playoff within Africa to get the one African space in an intercontinental playoff, which is Oceania, CONCACAF, Asia, actually all the ones bar UEFA. And again, that's seeded as well. Only 6 teams go through, but basically there's 2 positions left off. So you have to win the group. Realistically, if you're going to qualify out of Africa. So so we've gone from the European Championship chat to AFCON chat to now World Cup 2026 chat. So I think we've covered it all, Luke.
That's how this podcast rolls, though. We just cover just all football, just all football. Macdara, we'll let you go. Enjoy your day in Hamburg. Chat soon.
Yeah, chat to you over the weekend. Thanks, Luke. All the best.
Ushadang will be back with the Extratime Voice Notes podcast in your feed this weekend as well. Until then, thanks for listening, and we'll chat again.